The final rounds of the Radical Challenge are here at Donington, the national circuit in use. 3 races to determine who is going to be the champion, be it Dominic Jackson or Jerome de Sandelier. 57 points between them coming to this event before qualifying.
It's been close racing between Jerome and I all the way, and in the second half of the year, Jack as well. It's been good fun to have a few people dropping in and out and who are a bit competitive, Marcus Clutton and the SR1 guys. And yeah, similar to the year before, it's all about just trying to be as consistent as possible, mainly because of the success penalties and how wildly the points can swing with so much to gain or lose each weekend.
I'm highly competitive. I like to win. As we sit right here, I'm second in the championship, 55 points away from the leader. Anything is possible. So if I look back, I think the championship has been a very good one.
So we started the season off and we didn't really have any expectations, just wanted to kind of get the car, get going with us. We hadn't really had any pre-season testing, so just trying to get an idea of what we had with the car for the rest of the season. Ended up having quite a good first round and didn't really think anything of it, but now we've ended up in the championship fight in the last round.
You know, I don't think you can take anything for granted. I have a bit of a lead, 54-ish points, I think, after qualifying. But there's 200 points up for grabs this weekend, so my approach is no different to any other weekend. It's just to put your head down, get on and try and get the best result out of every race.
Dominic is a phenomenal, race car driver. He's got quite a bit more experience than me. That translates into him making a lot of on-track decisions which work in his favor.
If either of them have any kind of difficulties at all this weekend, we could have a really strong weekend and come out with something that we wouldn't have even dreamed of at the beginning of the season. So yeah, we're delighted to even be in this position.
I have absolutely nothing to lose, so it's going to be about pushing as hard as I can. I have 20 seconds success penalty in the first race, so I'll have to spend 20 seconds more in the pits than everyone else. Dominic will be spending 15 seconds more. So it's about minimizing the damage, taking as many points out of the race that I can, try and get on the podium, and then really focus on winning both race 2 and 3. With a bit of luck, I can maybe win this championship.
We're about to find out whether it is going to be Jerome de Sadelier's title, because the first of 3 races is imminent. He will start on pole position. Dominic Jackson with him at the front of the grid. 20 seconds extra in the pit lane for de Sandelier, 15 for Jackson. Row 2, Marcus Clutton, who was victorious at Snetterton before he was registered for points, but he has proved to be a race winner this year. He's got 5 seconds to serve. Jack Constable, double winner, he will start 4th. He doesn't have to serve any extra time in the pits. Therefore, he could be the man to perhaps get on the podium, maybe the top step of it. We'll find out, because it's a 50-minute race. There are mandatory pit stops as well, and we are about to go racing then as the cars make their way up out of the chicane. The lights on the gantry will blink out in a moment to get the race underway. Who is it going to be to make the best start? Jerome de Sandelier then on pole position, charges down towards Redgate Corner. On his outside line is Dominic Jackson. They've been toe-to-toe all season. They are wheel-to-wheel at Redgate. Drama there, though, already. Look, number 2, that's Chris Preen being hit by Marcello Marattiotto. Gets a big drill in the back. Lurches him around Redgate. I think they've all survived it as the leaders drop downhill for the first time. De Sandelier having hit the front, ahead of Jackson now. Marcus Clutton 3rd, Jack Constable 4th, as the rest of the field all files through. Now de Sandelier is doing his level best here. Look to get away. He's building a very small gap over Dominic Jackson, but Jackson knows that he's going to buy back 5 seconds in the pit stop, so he doesn't have to sit on his tail. Clutton is 3rd, Constable 4th. Look as they round Coppice for the first time. That double apex right-hander, and then the run down towards the chicane. 66 going strongly. That's Brian Caldwell, the man from Southampton, up on the inside line, trying to gain ground as they drop down to the chicane now. Through the right, through the left, and then accelerate up over the timing line. 52 is Mark Richards, who has had a yo-yo sort of a season. You've not seen him in every round. When he has been here, he's normally been quick, but he's not had the results ready to back up that speed. So, end of the lap, de Sandelier leads the way, but now look, Jackson is under attack from Marcus Clutton. That is bad news doubly. One, it's going to delay him and make him fall back from de Sandelier, but if he loses places and loses points, that's advantage de Sandelier in the title race. More battles, more dramas down at Redgate. Look as the field turns through. Yellow flag waving there. And that's the reason there's a car in the gravel bed. That looks like it could be the car of Maratiotto, also off the road there. Look, number 52, that is Mark Richards. In fact, it's, yes, 29, Maratiotto getting away, but that concern gone. The other car, Mark Richards, needing to be hoiked out of harm's way. Safety car peels back in, restart imminent here at Donington. Race 1 of 3 in the Radical Challenge Showdown. And as the race restarts, the weather is worsening. Look, there's drizzle in the air. 1 or 2 drivers heading for the pit lane. But de Sadelier it is then, who has the advantage. Dominic Jackson second and a sideways. Marcus Clutton going into Redgate. Jackson drifts out wide. All of a sudden he loses second place, drops to third. But now everybody focused on trying to find some grip. Down the hill they come, down the hill they tiptoe. Number 10 there is John Caldwell, and he also is struggling for traction as he goes through Redgate, losing out to Peter Brooks on the inside. So now it's about survival until you get to the pit stops, and possibly then it's worth changing tyres, depending on what the weather does, but don't pit too early. Leave it until the very last moment, then you are pretty much guaranteed to be on the right type of tyre for the conditions. Don't roll the dice too early. Jerome de Sadelier then leads the way. Second is Clutton, up to third. Look, Constable, and down to fourth is Dominic Jackson. Dominic knows how to win championships. He won this title last year, so he's driving within himself at the moment, not over-driving, not risking going off the road, especially with a greasy track, and they're all on slicks. Great scrum of cars here pouring into the chicane, at the head of which is the Chris and Dan Headlam shared car out of the teams championship. 24, Peter Brooks behind. There's Martin Verity in all of that as well as they come over the timing line now. To the inside line goes Peter Brooks, number 24. Can he go through? Yes, he can. And 44 is also in the mix. That is Nick Hull and Richard Avery's car. They came into the series at Alton Park looking to graduate from the Porsche Championship, the Toyo Tyres Porsche Series, into these cars for next year. Now there is Dominic Jackson. He turns his way round Coppice. He's hustling on, but is he getting close enough to have a go, or is he going to try and just get these places back on the pit stops? Jack Constable, though, the man directly ahead of him, does not have to serve any extra time. De Sadelier, 20 seconds he must serve, so he's going to drop away. Constable and there Clutton, who's got 5 seconds to serve. They could be in the pound seats here. Not only that, there's also back markers ahead there for the race leader to contend with. So Jerome de Sadelier, his father, former Lamborghini and GT racer. His brother, we've seen in LMP sports cars, now racing in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe and in the Silver Cup as part of our motorsports Aston Martin squad. Number 14 coming down towards Redgate Corner. That is John McLeod in the RAW Motorsports car. At the back of that little battle pack is Rod Goodman, his teammate. And Goodman is trying to push forward as de Sadelier tries now to work his way through the traffic. Weather improving, speed increasing. Clutton second, Constable third there, look. So right now, Jerome de Sadelier is still escaping up the road, but is he going to be able to build enough of a gap to preserve places when we get to that all-important pit window? It's a good way of doing it, to rather than put success ballast in the cars, have these longer pit stops. Works in other categories as well. And it's great to see how the drivers overcome that penalty. Do well, cop a penalty for the next endurance race. There is Jackson then, the reigning champion, fourth as he goes over the line. More battles down towards the chicane on the inside line. There, look, is 24, Peter Brooks, the Staffordshire driver, staying ahead of Rod Goodman. And now the team's ready as in comes Dominic Jackson. Now does he go to wets or does he stay on slicks? Let's see. John McLeod is in as well, but I think because the sun has come out again, drivers now thinking that it's worth staying on the slick tyres. They've got temperature in the slicks, they might as well use that to their advantage with the road drying as well. The wets are going to overheat, so yes, Dominic Jackson stays on the slick tyres. Away he goes. Jackson back into the race, John McLeod back into the race as well, and there, look, is Marcus Clutton. You lose effectively a lap on the pit stop here, but it all cycles through. In comes race leader Jerome de Sadelier. The man from Stuttgart, that's his base these days, the 360 Racing entered driver comes in. number 44, Nick Hull and Richard Avery's shared car. Now where will de Sadeleer rejoin relative to these two? Away goes Jerome de Sadeleer. Dominic Jackson comes out of the chicane, comes up, heads over the timing line. Where does that put him? It puts him in the lead. Clutton is second, so down to third goes Jerome de Sadeleer. But he's going to be on his toes now and see what he can do to try to get himself back into the mix. Remember, his was a longer stop under the regulations by 5 seconds over Jackson. But Jackson has done well to get himself ahead of Marcus Clutton here. So downhill they come. So Jerome de Sadeleer on the attack now, going after the cars ahead of him. And Dominic Jackson, whose pace wasn't quite as good as de Sadeleer's in the first stint. It's going to be worth watching him in this second stint of the race to see whether he can repel the challenge of Jerome de Sadeleer. 57 points between them before qualifying. De Sadeleer really pushing, drifts a little bit wide, going into Coppice, survives it, accelerates out of the corner, and now goes down towards the chicane. So de Sadeleer on the attack in this 50-minute race. Pit stop's done. Now it is a dash to the checkered flag, and the action continues here right after the break.